All
Hey.
right. Hello, Chef Brandy. How are you?
I'm good, Chauncey. How are you today?
I'm here.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fun.
It's Wednesday, February 10th of 2021.
Yes,
Can
it
you
is.
believe it?
We're here already.
You have Valentine's Day plans?
Self-love, sleeping in, loving on oneself. Those are my Valentine's Day plans. How about you?
You know I don't do no Valentine's Day. Now, welcome everybody to our EMP review for today. It is your host, Chauncey, with, of course, Chef Brandy and entrepreneur whisperer Brandy. And joining us off cam is the amazing EMP Drea. So if you're here with us, remember in the chat and comments, wherever you are, talk to us there. Tell us what you're thinking. Ask any questions, and we'll get around to it at some point. So, Brandy, tell us, what is EMP? What is the membership all about?
Yeah, so Entrepreneur Meal Plan is a community for people looking for food for their mind, body, and business. What does that mean? You know, as entrepreneurs, we kind of wear it as a badge of honor to burn ourselves out and work ourselves into the ground, especially when we have this like grind culture that's running rampant through social media. So, Entrepreneur Meal Plan is a place where you can give yourself permission to take a break and pour into yourself the same way that you pour into your clients and community projects. Now, specifically, what does EMP offer? EMP offers plant-based meal plans. That's recipes, shopping lists, and suggested plans on how you can consume that food over the course of the month. In addition, you're going to get access to these live weekly cooking demos and the replays as well inside of your membership portal. You will also have resources to be able to grow your business and access to a community of like-minded people who are looking to start a new movement around how entrepreneurship should be done.
So entrepreneurship that not only pushes the envelope in business, but while doing that, takes care of the entrepreneur. That's very important. And Brandy, you know, everybody's confused about what to eat, what to do. So you're helping them out. You're just telling them what to do.
Yeah, especially. I mean, especially when it comes to plants. I mean, the reason entrepreneurship was founded was because I worked with so many entrepreneurs that were, like I say, passionate about what they're doing, running themselves into the ground, wanting to be healthier, but just not really knowing where to go. And ultimately, you know, what you decide to eat is up to you. All we offer here at EMP is an opportunity for you to enjoy eating your vegetables. Regardless, we don't know like what else you're going to have in your body, but when you have your vegetables that are a necessity, you're going to enjoy them.
There we go. And speaking of vegetables that are necessities, this month, the title, the theme is Let's Be Sweet Potatoes.
Yes.
Oh. So last week we did you did it. I didn't do it. You did a sweet potato dish. And today you're doing another one. So tell us, just tease us with it, Brandy, before you do your little change and show us what you're making.
Yeah. So we're going to do a sweet potato hash. Yeah. I mean, potatoes, veggies, spices in a bowl. Can't get any more delicious than that.
Well, now wait a minute. Everybody's doing sweet potatoes, Brandy. Before you go over there, let me question you with this. What about the other potatoes? Why not just a white potato?
Oh, those are fine too. They just don't fall into this month's theme. But if you would like to swap out the recipe today with a regular white potato, a russet potato, a blue potato, a Idaho potato, a Japanese jam, if you're fancy, right? Totally will be fun, and they're all fine.
Oh, good. Okay. See, people need to hear that because you chose sweet potatoes. I got to call you out for that. You're leaving the other potatoes out. How dare you?
It's the love, okay? That the name was.
I get love from a russet. I get love from all other kinds of potatoes.
I hear you, but you know, let there be.
How dare you again? That's two how dares yous.
Hold up. Let's be russet potatoes doesn't land the same way as let's be sweet potatoes.
It might for me. Very good. Yes. Of course, we love sweet potatoes, and I'm looking forward to this hash, Brandy. So go ahead, do your setup. After the little break, everybody, you will see sweet potato hash.
Hey, so sweet potato hash is going to start with cutting up the sweet potato. So this is just a sweet potato. Now, I soaked and washed these sweet potatoes before this cooking demo, and I'm going to leave the skins on. You could totally choose to take the skins off if you want to, but I want to leave them on. Oh, and I'm going to be a little more responsible with how I cut this sweet potato. I'm going to cut it in half so that I can show you how you can use your sweet potato as a base to make it a little easier to cut. So I cut these tips off at the bottom because sweet potatoes have a round uh, floor. So it's not a flat surface to cut on, which makes it really dangerous when you're trying to cut something and it's like falling all over. You're more prone to a injury. So what we do is we cut off the bottom so that we allow it to have a strong base, right? A strong base. Now that it has a strong base, we can comfortably cut this down in thirds, right? Sweet potatoes tend to be pretty like a more challenging potato to cut, but if you set it up this way, where you give it a base and then you can kind of use the benefit of gravity to break them up into pieces, it makes cutting them a lot simpler. So that is the trick to cutting sweet potatoes pretty simply. Give it a base, so that you are not potentially going to cut your finger off with the unstable bottoms and then go from there. Now with these sweet potatoes, I'm cutting them about like just a kind of a large chunk because I want them to have a little bit of bite. I don't want them to disintegrate in the pan, and so I'm giving them a little bit of a size to them. So we're keeping them kind of big. Repeating the same thing. And yet again, every time we're cutting, we always talk about using our lines. Lines are our friend. They help us, number one, to be able to cut more than one level at a time, so to say. And they help us to get even shapes across the board. Now, what is the benefit of an even shape? Your food is going to cook more evenly, meaning that you will have things cooking at the same time. So you're not going to have super big pieces that are going to take longer to cut, really small pieces that are going to take shorter to cut, and then like this uneven dish. If you don't want that experience, you're going to cut these things in little pieces. And it's worth the investment at the front to kind of do it just to make your journey a lot easier. Now, sweet potatoes is literally one of those dishes that when I was growing up having sweet potatoes, I think they literally only came in the shape of a candied yam. Even when we had baked potatoes at home, my mom didn't bake sweet potatoes probably until the later years of my childhood life. So it was really interesting when sweet potatoes kind of became the go-to sweet potato, when the white potato became uh, an enemy at some point. That there was so many things that one could do with a sweet potato besides just like douse it in syrup and put it into the oven. Now, sweet potatoes on their own are pretty sweet. I remember the first time I had a sweet potato without like syrup on it. I was surprised at how sweet it was because I anticipated it not being as sweet because I'd only had it prepared with that added syrup, which don't get me wrong, candy yams are absolutely delicious. But a sweet potato on its own has enough sugar inside of it that you can, especially when roasted, you can roast the sweet potato and really bring those nice natural sugars to the top and not need any type of added sugar to it. So, just a fun fact, if you want to create a batch of roasted sweet potatoes every week, like just as part of your plan. And a batch could be, you know, 3 or 4 that you just kind of keep in a refrigerator ready to go. It's a really, really nice recommendation in addition to your to-do list, and it's well worth it. Like, you can eat those things cold, you can whip them. As you saw last week, you can use them to make a wrap. So it's well worth it. So I'm going to put these into, this pan is heated. I'm just going to drop them in and let them cook down a little while I cut the other ingredients. And for this, I want to make sure that the potatoes are spread evenly on the bottom so that you get like a nice little browning effect in this first little cook. So I am adding in 2 ingredients for this one. I decided that I was going to make this hash with the things that were left over in my refrigerator. Right now, I have this huge. This onion was huge. I made 2 dishes with it, and I literally still have a half an onion left. So huge onion. Going to use the other half of it. I also have a like 3/4 of a pepper that I didn't use, so I'm going to use that as well. So always love the opportunity to show you how to properly cut an onion. So this one, I already cut it in half. As you see, I have the little back piece kind of intact so that that can be our guide. We're going to literally just cut the front part of the skin off so that we could peel the rest of it back pretty easily. This skin is not trash. This skin can be used to make a broth. So I would recommend taking it and putting it into the freezer. If you are not going to use it in a while, like if you're not going to use it immediately, put it into a freezer bag. Once you get enough of it, you can take that leftover onion skin with some carrots and celery and turn it into a nice broth. Now, just like we did with the potatoes, these onions, we're going to use our lines. Now, I want these onions to show up and have a really nice presence in this dish. So I'm making them a little larger than I normally would. Now, if I wanted them to be smaller, I would cut more lines across the inside and more lines across the top. But since I want them to have more of a chunk, I am making them a little bigger. So as you see, these are pretty big pieces of potato. But like I say, I want them to have a little, I want them to be present. They're not just in there for their flavor. They're actually in there to show up and show out at the party, right? Now we're going to do the same for our good old pepper. Now I'm using a red pepper because this is the pepper that I have. You can make this with a green pepper, a red pepper, a yellow pepper, an orange pepper. The same holds true with the onions. So say for instance, you had a red onion or a sweet onion or a yellow onion, you could use that. I happen to have a white onion, so that's what I'm throwing into my hash. Now, another thing that I like to put into my hash as well is a green. I don't have any on hand right now, but this goes really well with, say, a spinach or a kale or even a collard green. I've cut up collard green shreds before and put those into the dish. So any type of green will go really well. And the same with these peppers. I want them to show up. I want them to have a presence. So I'm making them a little larger than I normally would. So there we go. I'm gonna put those in. Just cut them down. Yet again, all about the lines. We don't need these to be perfect. Hash is a pretty rustic kind of dish. Um, I know growing up, they there used to be something called corned beef hash. I'm sure it still exists. I don't think it kind of was extinct as I became an adult. I don't even honestly remember that dish. I have no recollection of corned beef hash. Um, but I see it all the time. People really love it, and I think if you were trying to maybe mimic that corned beefness, maybe you could actually throw in some thinly sliced mushrooms that you would kind of like chop up and work in, and potentially like even like a crumbly lentil. So something to consider if you want to recreate the plant-based hash, well the corned beef hash experience in the plant-based space. Now, I am going to move this over just so you guys can see. They're starting to toast up a little bit on the bottom. Ooh, we're shaking. Toast up a little on the bottom, which is cool. And I did not put any oil in here. As you guys know, we are a oil-free zone whenever we can. Now, I'm seasoning these very, very lightly. I'm going to go with some paprika. I'm going to go with a little bit of cumin. And then I'm going to go with some good old garam masala. I'm just feeling a little spicy today. Put this pot down because this is my first time using this one. I actually ran through my garam masala, which is a random spice that I was surprised that I made it through in like half of a year. But I did. And I'm opening it up and it smells like, oh, it just smells kind of good. This would be a really nice candle. So the ingredients in garam masala are coriander, red chili, dried mango, curry leaves, cinnamon, bay leaves, cumin, fennel, clove, black pepper, and star anise. So that is if you want to take all of those things and mix them up, you could make garam masala, or you could just buy it. I found this at my local grocery store, not even like a international spice store, just my local grocery store in the international section. So putting these spices in, mixing it up a bit, and then I'm going to throw in these onions and peppers. I'm going to put the top on it, let it cook down, have a conversation. So this is a pretty, like, no fuss meal. It's like chop the potatoes, put them in a pot. While you're waiting for those to like cook a little bit, you chop whatever you're adding in. When you're right before you put the other stuff on top, you throw the seasoning on there. You put this in, mix it in a little bit. It's nice to get things all nice and incorporated. Some of that seasoning from the potatoes is gonna get on top of the veggies. And I am gonna put just a little bit of water in this pot before I put the top on there, just to give it a little more help to kind of steam it and bring it together. Even though I don't need to put that much water because water is gonna release from the onions. Water is also gonna release from the peppers. And then right at the end, I'm gonna take the top off so that we can stop kind of steaming it and then kind of give it a little bit of caramelization and all of that good stuff. So I am going to grab my top, put it on a dish, and meet you guys back for questions.
All right, Brandy. Whoa, so things are over there cooking?
Yes.
Now, just remind us, Christine wants to know, what are the ingredients?
So sweet potatoes, red peppers, white onions, paprika, garam masala, and cumin. And this is my, this is my version of this, right? So like I say, the base is the potato. I think it's important to have an onion in there, and it's important to have a pepper in there. Now, those you can decide if you're going to do a red onion and a green pepper. That's your choice. And then I just was in a kind of fragrant, spicy kind of mode. Initially, I thought I was going to go like Italian with like rosemary and garlic, but I don't know. My soul pushed me to the spice.
That sounds good too. A question from EMP Drea, one of our team members. White and sweet potatoes. See, that's what I was saying before you started.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm all about the intermingling, but I'm always about the consistency of the theme. So I'm embracing the sweet potato. But if you guys want to mix it up, get creative, totally. I love a potato medley. A red potato goes well with this too. Like if you did like red, white, sweet, delicious.
Yeah, that sounds very good. Now, if you blend those potatoes, would they cook similarly?
I would recommend starting with the sweet potato first. That's going to need a little more time to cook. And then I would probably go with the red and the white. Like the red and the white will cook about the same. So that'll even out.
Right. Yeah. Great. Okay. Keep it coming with any questions as we talk. Okay. Now another question. Here we go. Would you bake it?
Oh yeah, so I've done when you bake it, like take the potatoes. What I've done this before, I've taken the potatoes, just cut them up on a cookie sheet, put them into the oven, and cook the veggies on top. And then when the potatoes got out of the oven, just stir them into the sauteed veggies. So that's another way that I've prepared this hash.
Yeah. Right now I'm baking sweet potatoes every day. But I buy them frozen, the roasted sweet potatoes frozen. So you put them on a cookie sheet. They're already cut up. Or at 450. It takes about a half an hour. That's right. That's right. It is so easy. So they're roasted sweet potatoes, frozen. There's only one company that makes it. We ain't going to say who they are because they ain't paying us. But you could search for it. And it's really easy, like Brady's saying, but do it on non-stick foil or parchment paper, right, Brandy?
Correct.
Yeah, so make sure you do that. I tried it on regular foil just to experiment. No, you don't want to do that.
You lose the whole bottom of your potato is gone.
So they're saying that I need a beating for this. No, I'm telling y'all, look.
Listen, Chelsea and I have had this conversation so many times. I've given up. I'm just like, you know what? This is a prime example of not making excuses for staying committed to the plant-based diet, right? If this is going to be the strategy that makes sure Chauncey shows up and consistently ingests plants, if you want to buy frozen cut up sweet potatoes, go for it.
And they're pre-roasted. Yes. So then you bake them and it's even better.
It's like double
Try it. Try it before you hate.
No, listen, they are good.
Check like, the hate until you try.
They are good. And I mean, I think when I tried them, you had microwave them. Like they weren't even in the oven, and I thought they were pretty tasty.
I know. And they're even better in the oven. I mean, in the oven. It's like, but see, the thing is, what Brandy did, soaking the sweet potato, making sure it's rinsed off, cutting it to make sure you have a nice stable base, going through the whole chop, following your lines. That's already done. So the question is, do you want to do that yourself? You want to pay somebody else to do it? Now I'm getting a pass for the microwave. Yeah, I don't do the microwave anymore because it tastes so much better in the oven. It does. I even have frozen hash browns from the same company. You do the same thing. This is the same thing. You just put it on non-stick foil in the oven, 450 Fahrenheit, 20 minutes. Then you move it around another 10 minutes. Done. And the hash browns, Brandy, some of them have a nice crunch. Some of them are soft. It's a nice blend. Anyway, that's enough about me. Get out of my life. And now some other questions. So keep coming with the comments and questions if you so dare. Brandy, a question for you. Wait a minute. You could eat sweet potato skin?
Yeah. You can.
Explain that, because, I don't know that a lot of people know that. Tell us about that.
You can eat sweet potato potato skin. It is tougher. It's not as soft as the other skin. So sometimes, like if you're like, oh, like it takes a lot of chewing, you can kind of, what do you call it? The stripe effect. That's what I kind of do. So I may take the sweet potato and take the skin off of like one side, keep it on, one side, keep it on. And
like
so,
use a peeler, peel some of it off.
Yeah, similar to how you may see somebody do a cucumber, like in a cucumber salad. Do that to your sweet potato to kind of get used to eating that skin. But you can eat a sweet potato skin. We don't usually eat it, but we can.
Yeah. EMP Dre is saying this. Great roughage. Okay. Now, another question. What is it? I was talking about it, but what is it about roasting? What is it about roasting that makes things taste so much better? Explain, chef.
Yes, it is the act of raising those sugars to the top and really getting like the water out, so you get the sugar content that is in food. There's a caramelization process that happens with roasting, and we love number one.
Andreas, the same thing.
We love a crunch, and we love a sweet. So roasting gives us that. And a lot of times when you're roasting, you season it with like salt and pepper. Like a lot of roasting recipes are very basic. It's like salt, pepper, garlic, right? So you got that savory note from those ingredients, that little bit of salt. You have the sweetness from the caramelization process, and you have that bite. So it's like the roasting is like the perfect kind of blend in your mouth that we look for when we're eating food.
Yeah. Another question from Gladys. Here we go. Sweet versus white, which is healthier?
All right. So potatoes are the most nutrient dense, one of the most nutrient dense food, right? They're super nutritious. And the white potato particularly gets a bad rap because of the things that we are used to doing to them. So a lot of times we have a white potato. No one just bakes a potato and eats it out of the skin. We take a potato. Yes, Johnson. Most people don't just take a potato and eat it out of the skin, right? You take the potato, you may fry it and make French fries. You may make pan-fried potatoes with duck fat. This stuff is absolutely delicious. If you even get a baked potato, right, you put cheese, butter, bacon, sour cream, and you say it's the potato, but it's not the potato. Like the potato, a lot of people don't know, has a lot of vitamin C in it, right? And so there's a lot of nutrients that we get from potatoes themselves, and we don't have to eliminate the potato. The sweet potato is just as, like the white potato is just as helpful as the sweet potato, just in different ways. So I'm big on just kind of debunking that myth about the white potato versus the sweet potato. We have to embrace all potatoes and just think about not putting stuff on them that causes them not to be as nutrient dense as they can be.
Exactly. Like you said, the different potato varieties do have different nutrient compositions. Like you said, white potato has more vitamin C. Vitamin A would be a sweet potato thing, and so on. But like you said, it's what people do to these poor potatoes and then blame the potato.
It's so sad.
How dare you? Thank you, Gladys, for that question. We do appreciate that. And remember, everybody, if you have more, let us know. Also, Brandy, with the whole baking thing we were talking about, caramelization, there's air frying. I mean, that does come into play. Do you want to talk about air frying at all?
I mean, yeah, it's good. Air frying's cool. Like it's literally baking. It's the idea of roasting, but with air kind of circulating a little more aggressively, so you end up getting that crunch kind of all around, versus in the oven when you roast, you tend to only get that roast on like the one side unless you like shake the pan up a lot to kind of move it around. So an air fryer actually is a tool that mimics roasting in a way that makes the item feel fried.
Right. Yeah. But it does, like you said, it goes further than an oven.
Yeah.
If you're using that in dehydrating. So,
correct.
That can raise the calorie density. But, anyway. So now, why is it a good idea to add green leafy vegetables to a hash? You were talking about you like to do that. Can you explain why?
Yeah, it's good. It's another texture. It's another reason for us to get greens into our diets. I just think any opportunity you can to just put a green into a dish, you can do it. And a potato is an amazing vehicle for a green. So that's why I say I love putting greens into a hash.
Yeah, excellent. And one more question from me. We'll see if any more questions pop up. And Brandy, maybe what we'll do is wrap up, and then you'll take us back to the dish after we do that. Okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
So here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of paprika? Because I'm sorry, sometimes you have paprika, you put it in a dish, you go, why did I even do that? It's red now, but what did it do?
The paprika really does have a taste. It is a really mild pepper, like really, really mild pepper. So that's what it is. It is not like you can't season food with paprika exclusively. I don't know if you're going to get much out of that. Smoked paprika, however, is a game changer. Like that does something, but that's the smoke that you're getting from that, right? So it's a layering flavor, similar to like a bay leaf, right? No one takes a bay leaf, crunches it up, and like sprinkles it on food, but you add it to a sauce, or you add it to a soup, and that little hint of that bay leaf and what it does to the dish brings it together. And paprika plays a similar role in like the spice composition.
So it's like a member of the band, but not a soloist.
Yes. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful, Brandy. So before you take us back, tell us again how we can become members of EMP, all of that.
Yeah. So Entrepreneur Meal Plan is a community for people looking for food for their mind, bodies, and business. We are here to make sure that you remember that running yourself into the ground, though it may be a badge of honor on social media, in real life, it is not effective to building a business. So Entrepreneur...
Well, Puffy says it is.
Yeah, Puffy said it was before. If you check post Puffy's social media today, he has changed his tune as well.
Oh, he's calling himself a liar? Is that what you're saying?
He's calling himself an evolved human. We're going to put a positive spin on his growth. So, in Entrepreneur Meal Plan, we allow you to grow, right? Because we understand we have an environment, a safe environment where we can grow together. Using our plant-based foods to power our productivity and our profits, we give you meal plans, recipes, a shopping list. In addition to that, you get access to these weekly live cooking demos where you can ask us questions and engage with other members of the EMP community. You can also get resources to help you to grow your business, invites to special events, and a community of other people just like you trying to make sure that they build their businesses in a way that's more balanced. And all of that is available at the low cost of $30.23 a quarter, because we want to make sure that Entrepreneur Meal Plan is accessible to as many people who are interested in shifting the way that they do business.
Excellent. And just so you know, everybody, we will be back next Wednesday, same time at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. And at that time, it's Sweet Potatoes Month. So it'll be stuffed sweet potatoes. Very, very interesting there, Brandy. So now, of course, everybody, we always say do life and business well, but we're going to do this dish well. That's what we're going to do. So, Brandy, do your transition, and we'll wrap up with that dish, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right. So here we're back with this hash. I'm going to put it into the bowl. As you can see, the potatoes are softened up. So have the onions and, excuse me, the peppers. So I'm going to dump them into the bowl. Got a runaway potato here. And I'm going to top it, excuse me, with one of my homegrown, as I call them, homegrown scallions. I've been regrowing this batch of scallions for almost half of a year now, and it continues to give back to me. So if you are considering growing something, but like myself, you do not have a green thumb, I would say start with scallions. They are very forgiving and easy to grow, and they kind of add a nice addition to a dish, color wise, chlorophyll wise, and flavor wise as too. I mean, flavor wise too as well. Flavor wise well. So there you have it, everybody. This is the EMP sweet potato hash made with only 3 ingredients and spiced with garam masala, smoked paprika, and cumin. Until next week, be well.